Hello, one and all. It's a quite a warm day here in Southern California. I'm currently in Ojai, and a very dynamic week of attending several conferences, including Build Back LA, where we're introducing some innovative, green, sustainable, and health conscious information and solutions for people who do need to build back almost 10,000 homes. And also, I was at the Green Investor Summit, and we're finding it's a very dynamic time on the planet that people are realizing that they have to be the change that they want to see. No longer can we depend on others or the government to fix all the problems. So, a very dynamic time. So, within this moment, we're also finding for myself that I'm circling back around and reconnecting with so many amazing people and organizations and solutionaries that I've worked with over the years and had the honor of spending time with. So, without any further ado, I want to introduce our presenter today. I met her and her work years ago and was really fascinated about not just the mission of her work, but also the science, the real world results of what she's been doing. And I'm going to let her talk a little bit about who she is, where she is, and the work that she does today on solutionaries. And also, she's available to help support you in your journey for health and wellness. So, without any further ado, welcome, Dr. Shanhong Lu, to Solutionary. So good to see you, and I'll be seeing you some point in Mount Shasta. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Michael. It's so good to see you again. Hi, everyone. I just want to share my journey. I was born in China in the two, under the shadow of my mom and my grandmother, who are both medical doctors. My mom was the first Chinese female MD and also a cardiologist, the top cardiologist, I would say, in the entire country. My grandmother was a midwife, so she practiced Chinese medicine. She delivered babies. So I grew up in this family and understanding about health and the power of Western medicine, rescuing you out of trouble, and then also the incredible power of a holistic way of self-care. That's how my mom and my grandmother both lived in their late 90s. My mother is 97. And she's still living in Beijing. So when I grew up there, I decided, Western medicine is very exciting because you are saving people's lives. You get lots of reward for doing so. And I become a medical doctor. And after that, I came to the United States. I want to learn why people have high blood pressure. So I become, interested in pursuing PhD in human physiology, which is one of the excellent topic to talk about how the body as a whole to work together, not work in different parts, right? Everything work together. And now, by working with Michael and agriculture and farmers, we understand that the earth is like a whole person as well. They have to work together. We can't just work on one part. So anyway, that drive me into the PhD. And then I studied the genetics of hypertension because I learned, some people have disease exposing to heavy metals and they have Parkinson's and they have dementia. But the same person in the family, exposing to the same thing, have different type of problem. They can have joint pain. They can have cancer. So I know genes play a role somehow to give you a presentation of different diseases.
And Dr. Lu, I'd like to mention, I really appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
Because as someone not at your high level and degree of the work that you do, but someone who's been on my own personal journey, and we love the human story side of doing this work, and being involved in my own process of self-healing, learning about food and nutrition, also learning about the various environmental toxins that are present. Of course, heavy metals are very prolific now, things like microplastic, but also how food has been tainted with different things, insecticides and pesticides and many of these things that, like you said, we really have to look at the whole picture. So part of what we've been doing, not to get into my work, we're here to showcase you, is what we
Right.
call full spectrum regenerative solutions, because we do have to look at human beings, we have to look at the environment, we have
Yes.
to look at these things are definitely connected. We're not living in a world that's disconnected. We have to look at things like the spiritual, the mental, the physical, the emotional aspect of a person, our relationship to our environment, our diet. All of these things are kind of part of the big picture. So it's a really exciting time here on the planet because people are starting to wake up to the interconnectedness and the interdependence of all of these systems working optimally together. And of course, you have some amazing solutions and insight of what could really accelerate people on their healing journey. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, Michael, for putting that piece in. For a while, I think I was getting a little bit depressed, looking at how toxic our bodies are. The work really started in 2016 after, I saw people's incredible results from getting rid of the toxins. I said, you know what? I need to document what kind of toxins, right? So I made a call called the National Detox Project, making everyone donate their urine and test what's in the urine, right? So this is 2016 when Great Plains Laboratory first announced they're going to be able to test pesticides. One of them is glyphosate. Glyphosate is the number one herbicide in the entire world today, and the usage exponentially grow after GMO food, which are glyphosate resistant, are being spread all over the globe as well. So we start testing people just to see, what happened people in New York City, what happened people in California and Florida. And what we found is the environmental exposures are not the same. Genetics, they're not the same. Therefore, when you combine the two, we start to see patterns, right? We see neurodegenerative diseases on the East Coast much more common. And also among farmers, Parkinson's disease is becoming so common in farmers. Farmers are used to be outside, touching the ground, doing physical labor, have fresh air, right? And now they're having tremendous depression and mental illnesses, and farmers' children are having autism and rage. So, that doesn't make sense, right? So, what we are finding is the environmental exposure. We actually have a name for it, Michael, called exposome. Interact with your genome. So, genome and exposome, when they come together, you have a presentation of the disease. So now, when we have people that have cancer, right, we start to look at the exosome, the exposome, the exposure, and then your genome, and try to make some sense of it. And meanwhile, the spirituality in medicine is becoming very much a mainstream now, right? The reason I say mainstream is every single person with cancer, if you ask them 2, 5, 10 years ago, what happened in their life, 100% of them will tell you the process of deep, deep conflict. The conflict could be induced by trauma, which are forced into the person to accept it and to even, pretend to forgive. This is a process that I didn't understand. I just thought I would just forgive and forget, right? No, 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 because the body actually keep the score.
Well,
So the
it's interesting because it brings to mind that there's an old saying, our issues are in our tissues. And even if we think about when people have stress, the body releases cortisol. So again, there's a direct relationship between our emotions and state of being and kind of our spiritual presence, and how this has a huge impact on our health. And as you know, not only that, you talked about the genome, but also a lot of breakthrough science and understanding and technology about the biome, our internal environment, our digestion, and whether it's working optimally, how we assimilate nutrients, and a lot of things that actually begin in the gut. Of course, spiritually, with things like our intuition, our insight, our
Yeah.
heart coherence, our emotional, spiritual intelligence is tied to our gut, but also the impact on the body. And of course, we've seen some amazing results with people doing micronutrients and hyper nutritionalizing the biome of the body, because as you know, the body is self-healing. So a really exciting time and breakthrough. And of course, you coming from um, uh, different aspects of medicine and health, you've been able to put those understandings together.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Now, and also with the holistic movement, and in parallel to, the cutting edge science, what I want to just share with everyone, when I had the lump, right? I did not want to go to conventional medicine because I really thought I can cure myself. I can cure the thing myself, right? And I interviewed many, many patients. I also went to many, many holistic centers. And at the end, I decided to use the best of both. Now, people for a long time believe that conventional medicine is too masculine and the holistic medicine is feminine. And we always lived on this duality, me versus them. I am right, they are wrong. And when it comes down to a patient, you must support their belief system instead of causing more duality. That's another thing I learned. It's through this time of change is we must understand we are all from the ocean. We're little waves by ourselves. We're very, very limited. We're isolated, lonely, sad, anxious, fearful. But if we understand we're all coming from this massive ocean, our little wave are just two little waves. And at the end, we are all from the same source. And I know that is the truth. I have no doubt about it. So when we understand that, we become, one. What is one? Well, we must support the both side, right? A person has a masculine energy, also have feminine energy. What we need is a integrated world. So that's another thing I do now. I love modern science. I think a lot of the old-fashioned way is we kind of reject science, we reject technology. I think at the 21st century coming into togetherness, we must embrace both. Now, when we embrace both, we must also elevate the spirit. We must understand it need to be heart driven, not brain driven. Okay. No, I think that's where the integration become a like a reality, right?
And it's amazing hearing you, because when you talk about that, of course, there's a lot of work done about the heart and heart coherence, and that the heart has an intelligence, and that the biomagnetic field of the heart actually, they say, is over 10,000 times stronger than the brain.
Mhm.
And the brain really can work as the base of intellect and filtering, but really there's a lot of intelligence, our intuition that comes through this, let's say, this heart coherence. And also, as you're speaking, I can't help thinking about the breakthroughs in quantum physics, that we understand our thoughts, our feelings, our words, our projections all actually affect things on a subatomic and molecular level, and actually create what reality is. So all of this goes into play, especially over the last few years, of
Mhm.
how we really co-create our reality, and what we carry, our issues, our trauma, even stuff from our ancestrals can have a huge part of our overall wellness profile. So really a fascinating time. And like you said,
Yes.
spirituality and science are just two different ways that say a lot of the same things, just in different types of language based on these ancient knowledges. Things like Chinese medicine, Tibetan medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, and how that works, with contemporary medicine as we know it, allopathic and otherwise. So again, a really fascinating time. And please continue. I just love listening to you. It invokes and brings so many things to the surface. So again, thank you for your time today here.
Yes, Michael. What I would like to just announce what I'm doing now, okay? So I found when I was an internist, I was seeing 18 patients a day. And then I started to work with naturopaths, chiropractors, and of course, many of them don't see as many. So what I learned is, why don't we do a practitioner training course? And the training course usually will happen in beautiful places like Hawaii and Mount Shasta. We did one in Florida. We want to do something in the Rockies and perhaps in North Carolina. And the reason we want to have this physical retreat, not just on the Zoom, is we have a chance to have a small group of people getting away from their treadmill. I think that's why online learning sometimes is very limited, because a lot of people are distracted and they're not really learning. They're just hearing something. They're not learning. So when we are all together, number one, we get the chance to be a human being. We want to be together and learn about each other's story. There are lots of tools we use when we're together. We also will make food together. We usually have catered food, but we also learn how to make them when we go home. This time in Mount Shasta, we're going to have Asian menus. So Japanese, Vietnamese, Chinese dumplings, and Thai food. And we learn how to make those things and using our own hand and learning from a chef. Meanwhile, we're going to learn how to test toxins. How to collect urine. How do you collect urine sample, water sample, and air sample, right? Radon is one of the hidden cause of lung cancers. So again, if you are living with a carcinogen, that's not wise. It's just a matter of time, right? So we learn how to collect these earth elements, also your body burden. And then we look at your gene. Let's say we look at Michael. Does he have a glutathione issue? Does he have a SOD, which is an antioxidant? Does he have a methylation genetic repair issue? And how important it is for him to invest into detoxification. Because some people don't really need that. I mean, they smoke and drink until they're 100 years old. So we look at the genetic, we look at the environment, and we make an individualized plan that is financially sustainable, right? And they can do it at home. And meanwhile, they can educate their neighbor. Because sometimes, you see somebody in your neighbor, they're spraying Roundup. They have no idea. And you get a little bit of upset about it. And then this way, you have to say, well, this is what I did. I took my urine sample, I looked at my genes, and then I can see this is pretty important, or this is not really important. And then give them a personalized decision. Because as human beings, our life need to be witnessed, right? We need to have a variety of the lives. We don't want to be all put in the cookie cutter. So I think in this way, people feel they're actually involved with their own process. So that's the second day of our event. And the third day is to teach the physician how to be good teachers. And that's really actually very hard, because physicians are not good teachers sometimes. They just...
Yeah, I find, my daughter is a physician's assistant, and I was shocked that after years of medical school, she was never really taught even about nutrition. It was kind of a quick little small chapter in the book. And also we find right now, and with the wildfires that are happening around the world, there's a lot of toxins that are being released from these fires. And also a lot of the things that are happening in fire putting out these fires, there's a lot of forever chemicals and, of course, the increase of microplastics and heavy metals. So I want to kind of drill down for a minute. So once you do this analysis, what is some of what you're finding? And what I really love about your work is you have solutions. It's not just like people doing self-discovery of their situation. How do you work with people? Because I know typically sometimes in Western medicine, it's like, well, we know what the symptom is, so we're going to give you a prescription to mask a symptom,
Right.
as opposed to actually dealing with the health issue at the source. So what are you finding in these different samples that you're getting from people, aluminum, mercury, whatever, and also what's your process of helping people find a solution and get well again?
Yes. So the first thing I want people to know, the detoxification is really just two product. Okay. So one of them is it's called the Clear Drop or Clear Detox Pro. And I have been talking to Michael before, and we almost sponsored firefighters to take the supplement. Basically, it's a liquid and they taste like water. You just put in the water and you drink it. What we found, it is a systemic metal and mycotoxin chelator. It basically binds these heavy metal and mycotoxins, and also mycotoxin is basically toxin from the mold, and also water soluble small molecules. These negatively charged particle can trap those and grab it. Once it's in the cage, it does not release. It goes with the water. So if you drink water, it will come out of the urine. And that is one product addressing water-soluble small molecule toxins, which is heavy metal, mycotoxin, and water-soluble pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides. The second ingredient that address plastics are calcium deglucarate. Calcium deglucarate is actually a molecule produced by the liver. It has the ability to bind itself to lipid soluble, or we call fat soluble plastics. Plastic particles such as BPA, phthalates, paraben, styrene, vinyl chloride, industrial petroleum byproduct, MTBE is very common in people. They drive around all day, especially in Los Angeles and San Francisco. Those are neurotoxins. So calcium deglucarate has ability to bind them and make them water soluble. This way you can poop it out and pee it out. So we're really just talking about two supplements that help you unload the daily toxins. And it's less than $150 a month. Now, people say $150 is a lot of money, but how many people go out to eat dinner and spend $150 these days, right? So now, how do you know these things working? Because since 2016 until now, I have been measuring people's toxin level before and after. So when you measure over and over and over again, and you are seeing the same pattern, you know the program works. Now, because there are lots of detoxification program out there, the problem is we do not see the consistent unloading process. Now, some people must understand you have to also start eating organic food, because it doesn't make sense when you're trying to unload the toxins and you're smoking cigarette and eating crappy food, right? So detoxification must have this first step is stop eating conventionally grown food, eating organic food, and then do a 2 supplement to help you unload the toxins. And then that's really something I felt if we can simplify it, then we are going to collect data, right? Then we are going to see results, because the compliance, it's all about compliance. Michael, people know meditation is really good for you, but how many people do it every single day, right? The compliance is an issue we must consider. We can't just say patients are not committed, because if they have to take 50 different pills, at different time of the day, you really can't blame that they're not compliant. So I think for the modern, conventional or 21st century physicians, practitioners, nurse practitioners, physician assistant, if we can develop something really simple, everybody can do every single day, you are going to see results. And there's
Well,
no doubt about it.
well, it's very interesting hearing you talk. I don't want to go on too much of a tangent, but recently I had a meeting with a woman I know in Colorado, and she was running for Senate, and she was running as a Democrat. And I'm not going to get into a whole political thing here. Anyways, she realized that whether it's the red party, the blue party, none of them are ideally perfect, and none of them really mostly have the political will to make real change. What's interesting in the current administration, we've seen someone like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And again, I know he's like there's a lot of debate and conflict and different opinions. I've actually met Robert Kennedy, and we have a mutual friend, you and I, through Dr. Michelle Perot, who will be joining us in October at Erstock, and she's another brilliant doctor with lots of insight in the work that she's done. The point I want to make is, people love this idea of make America healthy again. So despite all of the media or propaganda and how that's happening, so I had a conversation about a month and a half ago with this woman who also has a super PAC. So she said, watching what's happening right now in the political environment, because even politics somehow fits into this whole mandala or this full spectrum of how things have to work together, like soil, water, health, agriculture, wellness, even work around politics and how we in watersheds or bioregions work together. So we have actually initiated. I'm also working with Rachel Linden, who's a genius in soil science. She's been working on a Clean Soil Act. We have the Clean Water Act and the Clean Air Act, which, again, a lot of the EPA is being defunded. And I don't want to make a point politically, but we are actually working on a document, which is kind of a counterbalance for some of what we see happening in the world, called Regenerate America. It doesn't necessarily have a political party affiliation, but what it is bringing together amazing people like yourself to give their input of what are and we have to water this down and make it simple. What are very simple solutions that people here, drawing from traditions and cultures around the world, what can they do to have a better quality of life and also the environment? I mean, we see a decline in soil health, decline in human health. I mean, all of these things are working on it. So I just wanted to share that because I connected her with Rachel in regards to soil and as far as health. So at some point over the next year, and also she'll be joining us at Erstock because she's brilliant. She's, a woman with amazing leadership qualities. We're seeing kind of the patriarchal old world paradigm that's been broken and not really working fully for years. A lot of women like yourself are stepping into leadership roles with their intelligence and their intuition and giving us new solutions and new perspectives on things like health and environment. So I wanted to share that because we are literally trying to put together this Regenerate America platform. The good thing is she's also working with her super PAC, and she already has the interest of lots of people who are in the political arena who they're looking for solutions. We can't just go out and protest and yell about what we don't like. We have to find solutions. So right now, millions of people in the country are getting the memo of like, this isn't working and I'm upset, but they're not necessarily focusing on the solutions. They're kind of rebelling against what they see doesn't work. So again, a very dynamic time for full spectrum changes across the board. But I wanted to mention that to you potentially, and your genius and your advisorship and really helping to, my job is to help promote and really get more public awareness about people like yourself that are doing incredible work. So a time of immense change. We have a few minutes left. I don't like to go too long because we also have a attention span issue in the world. And we want to make sure that people can connect with you. And we're really excited to see you soon in about October. We are pulling together an amazing health panel. I won't get into that now. But what are some things that you can offer for insights right now that not only inspire people to get more involved in your work, but what can people do right now to have a healthier, non-toxic, higher quality of life and lifestyle?
I think the number one is to wear, you know, I would say avoid anything with plastics. Um, and I think it's something like as simple as cookware, right? I didn't realize the cookware has so much PFA and BPA. So starting with something you use every day. I mean, I love to cook 3 times a day. I didn't realize I was eating a lot of BPA and PFA and aluminum. And also the clothing, try to wear organic cotton or wool or something like natural without any coating, because BPA actually is absorbed through the skin by 25%. So that's simple things. You wear something every day, you eat something from your cookware. So that's important. And of course, get organic food. And if you can't afford organic food, definitely avoid dirty dozen. If you just Google that dirty dozen, they're going to tell you what's dirty dozen is. Dirty dozens are fruit and vegetables. They're sprayed not only once, but oftentimes sprayed throughout the season of growth.
Wow.
So those are things you just can't afford eating them because they're gonna poison you, at causing neurological things. We have people like, oh, I don't have cancer. Well, would rather have Parkinson's? You know, is cancer
Right.
worse than Parkinson's? Nobody knows, right?
I even heard some fruits like coconuts and other things are sometimes even dipped into things like formaldehyde or different types of wax coatings. And yeah,
Yep.
it's become a large commercial industry where, again, I know you worked with people before when we had our event in Chico.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of bringing back our own personal, they call them victory gardens, where at least in the backyard having some heirloom tomatoes and things that you like, and also, of course, shopping at our local farmers markets and going regional as opposed to, even though there's a function there, but when we look at these large
Yeah.
multinational corporations, it's more about the bottom line profit and distribution than necessarily
Right.
the person who's consuming their product.
Yep, yep. And so that's true, right? The household stuff and also the food you put in your mouth and the water. And some places like Nevada City, or people they used to do a lot of mining, you probably want to look at the water quality and put a water filter in there. I mean, those are very, very simple things to do. And I think to start with there, and then just allow your body to feel the difference. Because people, I used to never eat organic food until I started eating organic food, and I had to go to San Francisco, and I can taste the difference in the cookware that the restaurant use and the food. So just allow your body to appreciate the difference. And when you have to eat one, don't freak out, just realize that you should honor your body to know the difference. There is a window of opportunity to tell yourself, I do have a choice. Because sometimes we rush and rush and rush. We react to things. We forgot that there's a little space in our brain that actually is connected to our heart. And then if we just give that space a second, and we will say, look, I do have a choice to do it better. And I think that's something I want people to know. It's a very empowering process, instead of, well, we're all poisoned kind of thing.
Right. And I saw a documentary recently. They were talking even about things like shampoo and how these things absorb into the blood and the brain barrier, things like the cosmetics that people use, even a lot of things like deodorants and other things have heavy metals and different chemicals in it. So I love what you said because, sometimes people like be powerless. How can I change the world? And one of the ways we can change the world is by changing our own lifestyle and our choices and the things that we do, which can also be a very powerful political statement of what we support and what we spend our money on. So again, just good conscious choices. So
Yeah.
anything else you'd like to share in the last minute? Maybe you have a website people can go to and find out more about your work. And I had mentioned briefly, we're launching the Harm Free Emporium. And I'm working with Professor Alan Tratner from Green to Gold. And we have over 200 products, like things,
Ooh.
soaps and non-toxins, but also things like health technologies, and then other things like non-toxic building materials, because we're trying to create, we call it the green harm-free emporium. We need to stop harming ourselves, harming our
Yeah.
families, and also, of course, the environment. And as being a father of two girls, I'd like them to have a healthy life and a healthy planet. So again, even if it seems insurmountable, like what can little old me do? Like you
Mhm.
said, just little choices in our everyday life make a huge difference.
Yeah, yeah. So Michael, since you have two girls, we have two girls too. Um, I think one of the most fun thing to do is to buy used clothing, and it's actually less toxic because do you know the new clothes that come from China? They have to, they have to ship on the boat, and they put so much, toxins on it. So when the used clothes is they wear out, right? And sometimes the style is unique, and it's okay to wear used clothes. So I think that's something I always tell friends and families, like, if you have a beautiful clothes when you're a teenager, don't throw it away and share with people, because
My
that,
my daughter my daughter loves Buffalo Exchange, by the way.
yeah, see.
And what's interesting, again, I don't want to take up too much time, but
Uh-huh.
I'm doing a lot of research. I used to be a journalist. I still publish a quarterly magazine called Regen World Magazine. But I saw a documentary about a gentleman from India that was going around the world, places like Asia and Africa, and actually showing video of rivers of clothing. And like you said, it's not just the clothing itself, but the idea of what they're putting into the water and the soil. So he actually started doing harvesting some of these clothes and creating these cutting edge fashion lines of different clothes with different looks. And people are like, "This is amazing." He goes, "Yeah, look at where it came from." And then he shows them a video of a river, literally a river of clothing. You could not even see the water. He goes, "Yeah, I'm harvesting, I'm cleaning up the environment. We're turning these into cutting edge design." So it's kind of like the idea of upcycling. And it's
Yes.
really fascinating. There's so many innovators and solutionaries like yourself. And anytime I get to just listen and be reminded and, get the benefit of the work that you're doing and the understanding about, what I can do and what's happening is amazing. So how would someone find you online and learn more about your work, and maybe even at some future being able to get this analysis done of their profile for their health?
Yeah. So my Facebook is really simple. It's Shanhong Lu MD. And I'm very active on Facebook. LinkedIn is the same, Shanhong Lu MD. I do some, posting there. My own website, drlumd.com, just like yours, have been put at rest for now. And now, after the Hawaii, we had a retreat, we are forming a group called the Responsible Regenerative Medicine Group. Like that.
Amazing.
So we are going to have a website soon. And then this website now it's not a one person thing, it's a community. Michael, I think that's the thing that made me excited. It's not about me being famous or seeing a lot of patients. I want the community because, it takes a village to help one person. Seriously, it's like our children. You don't just raise children between you and your wife anymore. You raise
Right.
children with a village. And that village is called the human village. And that's really something I want to promote with all my passion. My success is nothing if the village is not successful. So thank you so much, Michael, for being part of that. vision holder too.
Amazing. Yeah. Teamwork to make the dream work.
And it's more fun, Michael.
It is. Quality of community and friends. I know, sometimes the world seems even more divisive, but again, we come together in shared mission and purpose to help make the world a more regenerative and better place. So thank you for your time. Thank you everyone for joining us today. And I hope to see, we're going to be broadcasting the event October 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. But we will be here in Santa Monica Thursday and Friday. The 2nd and 3rd will be various panels, keynote speakers, and workshops. And then the 4th and 5th is a little more of a festival environment where we're going to have speakers and films and vendors and also what we call edutainment. So, we got to make it fun. We don't want to just get bogged down in being a human doing. We also want to be humans being and being together and in community. So thank you so much for your time today. It's really been an honor. And we'll definitely be in touch. Tell Mount Shasta and the region hello, and following you on your amazing bike adventures around different parts of the world. And absolutely have a great day. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Michael. We'll see you on Monday.
Absolutely.
Okay. Have a great one. Bye.